Alright, so let's hold up, get this. So this is Psalm chapter 55, verse 20. It says, He put forth his hand, such a be a peace amongst. Right, so when he came over here, right, the Gadites, right, which are the so-called Native Americans of today, right, they basically were peace at him, okay? Well, Esau came over here to get attention, okay, of taking the land, right? So he said he put forth his hand to be at peace with him, man. Alright? It says, and he had broken his covenant, right? So they the Gadites, right, which a treaty is a covenant, it's an agreement, okay? It's like a contract. Right, they made an agreement with him, man, and they came over here. Right, they basically showed him how to live off the land, okay, where the gold was, all those things. But he started having interpretations against those people at the time. Okay, this is verse 21. It says, "In the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart, and his words were softer than oil." Right, so he basically spoke those smooth words, you know, became friendly and all those, but he had private interpretation against the so-called Native Americans, right, the Seminole Indians, right, the Latin tribes that were over here. Okay, Incas, the Aztecs, all those things, which they were all Israelites. Okay, they were all Israelites, man. All right. It says, "In his words were softer than oil, the others were drawn with swords." Right. So the sword, basically, right. He came, man. Them ships were holding back, man. At the back, you know, they had the Gatling guns, all those things, and basically their plan was basically to slaughter those people at the time, man. Okay. It says, verse 22, "And cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee." Right, and that's what they should have done if we get there, right? Because those Gadites, they got judgment, man, from being wicked. Alright? They weren't reverencing the Lord, they were onto idols. So the Lord said, I'm gonna throw, right? The Lord basically is gonna throw basically our enemies against us, man. Alright? It says, "And he shall never suffer the righteousness to be moved." Alright, now let's jump back into Deuteronomy chapter 28. Where it says, "Thou shalt see it no more again," okay? And what was that? Our homeland, okay? Basically Israel, okay? And that's why you have the converts over there, alright? It says, "And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondman and bondwoman." Okay? Put on the auction blocks and everything. So basically that was what's going on, man. Okay? This was future prophecy at the time. Alright? Speaking about. Alright? So in modern day Egypt, even when you look on the $1 bill in America, it'll show you the pyramid, and that's basically referencing, okay? It shows you the dove, okay? The olive tree, which represents Israel. When you go look into the coat of arms, okay? And basically the phoenix, which means rising from the ashes, all right? When you read Revelation, the 13th chapter, it talks about how that deadly wound was healed. That's basically the reincarnation of the Greco-Roman Empire, and the Greek Empire that Esau once ruled in, man. Okay? So it says, "And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondman and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you." So that means no man shall save you. The only person that could save us was basically the Lord, because he put us in that predicament. Okay? Jumping back, let's get Esdras. Right? Yeah, verse 12, it says, "Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation thereof shall be smitten with the plague." Right? So basically from the core of Egypt, which would be Pharaoh, okay, at the time, alright, which there would be a new Pharaoh, which would be a president of today. Basically the person that so-called rules the country, right? Well, we know they're puppets, they're just the face of it, right? It says, "Smitten with the plague, and the punishment that God will bring upon it." Alright? Verse 13, it says that they will fill the ground, and they shall mourn, for their seed shall fail, right? Which is basically mean the plagues, all right? The famine that would happen, okay? And there's going to be a famine in this land, okay? Also, you have inflation right now, okay? There's a scarcity in certain types of items and all those things, clothes, food, all those things, all right? That's called hyperinflation, right? It says, "Shall fail through, and the blasting in the hail, and the fearful consolation." Verse 14, it says, "Woe unto the world, and them that dwell therein," okay? And basically, the Lord's coming back with that great judgment, man. Alright, verse 15 says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand to fight against another." So that's basically talking about the race wars, and that's why you had a massive amount of people right back in 2020 with you know, the bear blood that was basically going around. They basically fled back to their countries, man. Okay, but there's gonna be a time where there's gonna be race wars in this country. Okay, and that was the same thing back in Egypt, man. It said the Egyptian shall fight against the Egyptian, you know. So that's basically talking about, in the modern day, it'd be the American version of America. Alright? You know, they're all on the same land. You know, they got the what is that called? The citizenship or whatever. There'd be referenced as that, man. Okay? And it says, "With one people shall stand up to fight against another with swords in their hands." So that basically with the intention, what's modern day sword is a gun. Okay? Right? It says, verse 16, it says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another." So there's going to be people invading one another, going home to home, okay? When that famine kicks off, the same thing that happened in Egypt, They were basically going door to door, taking people's food, clothes, okay, right, and even them, right. And it says, invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes. So in that day, it's not going to be protect the president, protect the mayor, protect the police, nothing, man. It's going to be every man for themselves, man. All right. It says, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. Verse 17, and a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So you're not going to be able to travel in that day, man. There's going to be roadblocks, okay? Right? Basically restrictions, man. You're not going to be able to go from one city to another. It says, and for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So in that day, right? Because the men are supposed to be protected, okay? But basically in that day, what's going to happen is that all that's going to fail, man. Okay? Isaiah the 30th chapter actually talks about that, man. All right? It talks about that. It says, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Verse 19, and man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, and shall destroy their houses, right? So that neighbor you knew for 15 years, you're good, cutting each other's lawn, it's not going to matter in that day, okay? You're going to be invading one another, okay? Right? Just like the movie The Purge, man, right? People holding grudges against each other, right? That's what it says. The action shall stand in their power. They're going to exercise basically their actions, man. That's what's going to happen. All right? It says, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Verse 19, and man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, right? So they're going to go in there with Texans with a gun, right? Taking what they want, right? People running shopping centers, raiding. Okay, there's going to be a whole bunch of things, man. All right? And it says, and spoil their goods, right? So what goods you have, jewelry, clothes, cars, anything, man. All right. It says, because of the lack of bread, right, which is going to be food in that time, all right? That bread is talking about that food, all right? It says, in the great tribulation, verse 20, behold, thus saith God, I will call all the kings of the earth to reverence me, okay? And basically, when you go into the book of Revelation, it actually speaks about that, okay? And the Lord will take all the crowns of the nations. Basically, the crown represents power, all right? That's what that represents, okay? Which are the rising of the sun, and from the south of the east, and at this time, right, this is what it was talking about, okay? And to turn themselves one against another, and to repay, all right, basically talking about World War III, all the nations are going to turn against each other, okay? It says against themselves one another, and repay the things that they have done unto them, okay? So come on, we're going to jump down to verse 24. Verse 24, and I'll go to verse 23. It says, and the fire has gone forth from his wrath, and hath consumed the foundations of the earth, and the sinners, and the straw that is kindled. Verse 24, woe unto them that sin, and keep not my commandments, which is talking about the Israelites, because they're the ones given the law. It says, saith the Lord, verse 25, and I will not spare them. Okay? Let me see if I can find that precept from Jeremiah, because Jeremiah was talking about that too. Okay, lift on and cry for those people. Alright? Because in that day, we're going to serve people, they're gonna be getting judged, man. Alright? So I can get Jeremiah real quick. Jeremiah spoke of that. Scripture. Yeah. Because that's a good precept right there. Alright, and that's basically what I'm speaking about, man. Okay? Right? And that's the time of Jacob's trouble, right? The Lord's people, he's going to do that house cleaning, man, with the 2/3. Alright? So let me see. Lift not up. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 16 says, therefore, pray not though for his people, right? And that's what Isaiah was talking about, because our people are being stubborn. They were listening to the Lord. We're listening to where they were taking heed. So basically, the Lord was going to judge them, man. Okay? Right? And again, using the enemies, like we're talking about in the book of Psalms, okay? And the book of Deuteronomy. It says, neither lift out a cry for them or prayer for them, for neither make an interruption to me, right? And they don't reverence the Lord, man. Okay? They don't call upon him. They don't think about it. Okay? So the Lord is going to cast that judgment. It says, for I will not hear thee. Right? So the Lord's not going to hear your prayers on that day, man. Alright? That's why we come out every week. We're getting the blood off our hands. Okay? Right? There's not going to be no excuse in that day. Oh, I didn't hear the word. Right? you know, oh, this was first and foremost, yeah, brothers, everywhere across the world, even these basic Israelite camps, I call them basic because they don't even get down to the nitty gritty, but they give you the basics, man, and you can go from there, right? Oh, they tell you you're an Israelite, they'll give you the good basics, man. I'm not gonna lie, they'll tell you, okay? Some camps are a little bit better than that others, right? And now, just knowing that you're an Israelite, that should trigger, but you ain't gonna do it, okay? It ain't gonna work, right? So you're gonna ultimately, right, begin to blow off our hands. It's an season, we're out here, I'm out here, this is basically fall, it's about to be winter, right? So we teach it, all right? That's basically what that is, man, okay? Now it says, I read that one. Yeah, from the power that defiled not my sanctuary. Okay, that's basically meaning the body, right? Because behind that line, the line's already defiled, right? The 2/3, if they were in the truth, they would defile the body, man. Okay, with their wicked ways, their iniquity, right? So verse 26, it says, "For the Lord knoweth all them that sin against him, and therefore delivereth them unto death and destruction." So those 2/3 will be delivered unto their judgments. They're going to be judged for their ways, man. Their iniquity against the Lord. Okay? That's all it is. It's not peaches and creams with the Lord, man. The Lord casts out that judgment. Okay? Every man is rewarded for his fruits. Okay? It says, verse 27, "For now the plagues are come upon the whole world," right? And that's what you see, right? These foreign nations, these other countries, they're going through the judgments of the Lord, right? The famine, the pestilence, the plague, all those things, right? The war. Okay, and that's slowly going to make its way over here. Okay, it says, verse 27, "For now the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them." So the Lord's not going to take you or deliver you from your trouble. You're going to remain in the plagues that's to come. Okay, right? The Lord's not going to deliver you in that time, right? It says, "For God shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against him." So therefore, there you go. All right, and that's what we brought Jeremiah in the 7th chapter. All right, basically talking about when we call upon the Lord in that time. Okay, the Lord's not going to answer your prayers, man. All right, so verse 28. "Behold, a horrible vision and appearance, therefore, from the east." Verse 29 says, "Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots," and that's basically modern day. The modern day chariots is basically talking about, you know, tanks, all those things, you know, military, all those things. Basically, that's what that's talking about, man. All right, so that's going to be the judgment that's cast forward, therefore, through. Okay, you see the Humvees now that Esau has. Esau's military is at its peak, man. Okay, better than it was before, right? They have the technology. That's the only thing that's really putting them ahead of the nations, is that they have the technology up there, right? But when it comes to hand-on-hand combat, man, I don't think Esau's taking these other nations, right? Especially when they join the forces, right? But Esau has that technology. He has some drones, okay? He has laser weapon technology. He has camo suits, right? I did that video a while back. I'm talking about the super soldiers that Esau's trying to make, right? He's literally trying to make super soldiers, right? Injecting them all this juice, right? And giving them the suits, right? Even Russia was trying to protect that too, right? So those are going to be, all right, which Esau is a sword, by the way, right? He's going to be the one to cast out that judgment, all right? It says, "And the multitude of them shall be carried away with the wind upon the earth, and which shall hear and fear trouble," right? So that word is going to spread war, okay? Right, so we're done in Ezra. So we're going to jump to something else. Right? We'll jump down to Jeremiah, the 11th chapter, right? 11 verse 11. Alright, so Jeremiah chapter 11, verse 11. It says, "Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring evil upon them," okay, which is his people first and foremost, alright? But he's going to bring evil upon the whole world, okay? The whole world is going to experience the wrath of Yahawashi and Sham, alright? It says, "Which they shall not be able to escape." So none of your inventions, right? Your people are stocking food, right? Weapons, okay? Going to the gun range every week, trying to prep, handcuff. None of those things are going to prosper against Yahawashi and Sham, because ultimately, all this destruction that's to come, the famine, the plague, all that, the Lord, we read it, man, the book of Ezra. The Lord is going to bring that himself, okay? It's not going to be just some average destruction. No, the Lord said he's going to bring that, okay? And that's the same way these past empires and rulerships, they weren't able to overcome that destruction, because that destruction came from the Lord. It was destiny, man, okay? It was destiny. right? It says they shall be able to escape, and though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them. So therefore, right, people, right, his people are going to talk to him. They're going to call upon the Lord that day, but the Lord is going to answer their cries, their prayers, man, to deliver them, right? That is only preserved for the elect, right? It says verse 12. And then shall the cities of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem go and cry unto the gods upon whom they offer incense, right? And that's basically that worship, the idol worship that we were talking about earlier in the book of Revelation. Book of Revelation is basically what I was talking about. Okay, so that incense is basically them reverencing other gods, man. Okay, that's what that's talking about. Alright? It says, but they shall not save them at all in the time of their trouble. Okay, so even in the book of Daniel, right, when the Lord mocked the other gods, right, they don't breathe, they don't see, they don't smell, they can't touch, right? That's basically, he's basically telling you to go cry unto them, right? You go cry unto them in that time in your time of trouble. Okay?